Hello everyone, today is May 30th. It is day 602 of the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and we have still 58 hostages in Gaza, but that might actually change. Let's look at the news for today from Yediot Ahronot. It says here, Mitkarvim laskamot, approaching an agreement about the Witkoff outline for a new deal for the hostages. Then we're going to go over some really sad and really devastating news about the baby that survived a terror attack for 15 days, and yet he was buried yesterday. It says, Ani omed kan v'libi shavur pa'amayim. I'm standing here and my heart is twice broken. Let's get into the news. Okay, let's talk about the Witkoff deal. It says here, hitkadmut b'derech leiska, a progress towards a deal, and this is the new Witkoff deal that is on the table. It says Hamitveh she'ushar b'Yisrael, the outline that was sort of agreed upon in Israel, and here's the terms of that new agreement. It says here 60 days of a ceasefire with negotiations, 10 hostages, 10 live hostages to be released, and 18 deceased hostages to be released in two sort of like times within the span of a week. And then the rest of the hostages will be released on the last day if there is an agreement. So if this is a 60-day, sort of ceasefire, within the first week, most of the hostages or half of them will be released in the beginning, and then at the end of that deal, meaning 50 days later, the rest of the hostages will be released. The prior sort of Witkoff deal was for 40 days of a negotiation and a ceasefire, and half of the hostages to be released at the first day. This isn't the end of these terms. Of course, it's so much more for Hamas than for us in some ways. He continues with this. On the 10th day, Hamas should give a medical report about the living hostages. You have to understand that the information that we received about the whereabouts, about the condition of the hostages, wasn't from the Red Cross, as you would have in many different other hostage situations in which they're allowed to receive medical attention, get sort of the feel about how they are. We had literally none of that. So a lot of the information that we got was from either propaganda videos or from hostages that would come back and report on the condition of the hostages. The other thing that they want is that the IDF will retreat from the Morag corridor, but will stay in the Philadelphia corridor. And then to end it, they say that Qatar, America, and Egypt will be guarantors of this agreement. Now, of course, again, it doesn't end there. Furthermore, there'll be 125 prisoners with a life sentence, terrorists, that will be released, and then 1,111 Gazans that were basically apprehended, taken to prison after October 7th, and 180 bodies of terrorists. You have to understand, on the 7th of October, literally thousands of terrorists came in, and so we literally have thousands of bodies, and so they want those bodies back. So those are the terms of the new agreement as of now, and even as of this very morning. Hamas has not yet said yes to this deal, even though they're being pushed very hardly by Qatar, by Israel, by America to say yes. But in the meantime, there's nothing new on this end, so keep that in your prayers. Okay, now let's talk about this sweet little baby that could have had a chance at life, but was not given that chance. Here it says, Tishlach le'ima et ahavati, send ima, send mother, my love. Tegid la slicha, tell her I'm sorry. And here you can see Tseila Gez. What happened to Tseila and her husband was that they were going from Bruchin, which is sort of near sort of the settlements, and she was literally in active labor, going to the hospital to give birth. And on the way, her husband says that he saw sort of like a green laser on his wife's body. They were shot, and he was able to survive, but his wife was not able to survive. And the baby that she was literally giving birth to had to be taken out in an emergency surgery. So Tzela, she passed away sadly, and they had so much hope that her son, who they named Ravid, and actually it's sort of a beautiful, I don't know if to say coincidence about this, but they actually found out that the person that executed the, taking out of the terrorist that basically assassinated her, killed her, his name was Ravid. So that's sort of like a little beautiful God touch that they named him unknowingly after the person who, defended them at the end of the day. But this little baby Ravid, he fought for his life for 15 days, and he was not able to make it. The trauma was too much. And it says here, and I want you to look at this picture. It's heartbreaking. He's so small. Usually a person has come to the full term of their life and they bring them out on a gurney. This baby is so small that he's literally just holding him in this talit, surrounded by his family. And he says here, Lo zachita be'ima shetagen alecha mikol. You weren't privileged enough to have a mother that would protect you from everything, because the 15 days that he had in this world, he didn't have a mother. And he also continues to say, I'm standing here and my heart is broken twice. And her sister says, you are in a world of everything that is good. Protect us. Protect us. You both should protect us. This is the reality that we live in Israel. We are a people that we appreciate and we value life. And the fact that this family is now heartbroken, and his children, he is a widow, and his children are without a mother, and his last child didn't even have a chance to live, is heartbreaking beyond compare. People just want to live. And actually, if you go to Tzela Gez's social media, she was actually a very inspiring, figure, that she would help people sort of understand life and overcome difficulties. And this was a woman that just wanted to live in joy and happiness with her husband and her family, and sadly enough she wasn't given that opportunity. So please keep the Gez family in prayer. And now we call this Mashu Tov L'Siyum, something good to end with. Here's a beautiful story about something that began tragic, but there's a very, very real redemptive element to this. So I want you guys to look at this picture first. This is Ina, who is the mother of, her daughter was basically gravely injured on October 7th. They both lived in a kibbutz, and as their kibbutz was under attack, they were waiting, of course, for the army to come. And the person that came and rescued them is this man over here that she'll, of course, rename. He will be nameless, so we'll call him B. And he was one of the first people that were able to actually get inside the kibbutz. It was very, very, very hard to get inside the kibbutzim because of the amount of terrorists that were there. They were literally fighting to get from house to house to save them. So actually what happened here is that he was serving in Gaza, in Jabalia, and they did basically an article about him that he was interviewed. And in this interview, he was talking about this case in which he went into this house, and the mother, because it was hard for them to get there on time, the mother literally took him and yelled at him and said, "Where have you been? Where have you been?" Because for 9 hours, she was just laying on top and trying to protect her daughter that was gravely injured. And she's still in recovery, but she was in distress. She didn't understand why it took the IDF so long to come. And he explains here that he felt really, really guilty about this case, that he just couldn't make it on time, that he looked this mother in the eyes and he didn't have a good answer. And he said, "I'm sorry that we failed you that day." So because of that article, this woman, Ina, she basically asked to create contact with this man so that she can tell him, "Listen, I know I was in distress back then, but I want to tell you thank you." She says, "I want to say thank you that you eventually did come and you did save us. Thank you for being there." You have to understand that a lot of these soldiers, they really do carry a lot of guilt because of, they're men and women that their whole essence is to protect the people of Israel. And when you fail in that, or when you aren't able to get there on time, and you see the devastation, not because of your inaction, but because of the inability of that day to actually get to the people that needed the help, it's a very heartbreaking thing for them. And you have to understand that a lot of these soldiers, they actually commit suicide because of the amount of bodies that they see, the amount of people they couldn't get to. They feel and carry on their shoulders a tremendous amount of guilt. So this is one little redemptive story about how this one man could sort of come full circle and understand that even though that was a really tough moment for this mother and her daughter, that they are still thankful for everything that the IDF does for them. And we here at All Israel News are thankful as well. And we're also thankful for you guys, thankful that you guys are here, that you care about the news. As always, tell us where you are watching from, and we hope that you take care. If you want more Israel-related content, go to allisraelnews.com. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next one.